Hey everybody, and welcome to the Intentional Harmony Podcast. This podcast is for musicians looking to jumpstart their career, inspire others, and get motivated to make the life of your dream. I don't care if you've been playing music for 5 years or 20 years. If you want a career in music, then what the heck are you waiting for? And let me clarify when I say career. This podcast is not just for musicians that want to make it big. This is for the musician who wants to play part-time, the brand new artist who just needs a little push in the right direction, the artist who does want to make it their full-time gig, and even the artist who's still figuring it out, because really, aren't we all? Whatever your dream and vision may be, this podcast will be here for you. I'm your host, Katie Warren, and I am so excited that you decided to listen today. My goal with each episode is that you explore deeper thoughts, build confidence to make your dream a reality, and give you practical tools and ideas that you can apply to real-life situations. Hello, and welcome to the Intentional Harmony Podcast, episode 12. Today is a really important topic. We're going to talk about networking. But first, I just need to mention that it is 44 degrees in winter Wisconsin right now, and that, my friends, is rare. So as much as I want to go outside, I want to make sure I get this podcast out to you because I think networking is just crucial, especially in this day and age. So let's get started. Many musicians that I talk to just automatically get guarded and uptight when I bring up networking, because for a lot of us, we tend to be introverts. And if you're an extrovert and you love networking, my friend, that is something that you need to hold on to and use it in your favor. But for many of us, networking is kind of scary. We don't do it a lot, so we don't practice it. A lot of us have a hard time making conversation, feeling comfortable just walking up to a random person and talking. So I want to give you some tips for online networking and offline networking. However, I want you to understand something. There is nothing like in-person connection. So get out there and meet people physically. It's nice to be online and it's convenient and you can meet people from all over the world. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing to do, but your stronger connections are going to happen face to face. A real handshake, real eye contact, and that is hard to find in the time that we're in right now. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go over some online networking things, but really focus on some of the offline things I'm talking about too, because I really do believe that those are going to be the strongest connections and the most valuable connections that you're going to make as a musician. So let's just start with your standard social media. There's a lot of noise out there and a lot of people scrolling through their feeds mindlessly, trying to just absorb all the content. And there is a lot of content out there now. So let's start with Instagram, because I know for a lot of you, that's probably your main platform besides Facebook. And honestly, they're going to be pretty much the same. So you know what? Let's just combine them into one. This is where you hunt out people that like similar music to you, that follow bands that you enjoy, maybe that currently follow you right now. And I want you to send them a direct message. You should be commenting and liking their feeds if they really truly are a good prospect for your fan base and they like the same kind of things as you. That's definitely someone who you want to interact with. But on a more personal level, send them a direct message and just ask if you can get on the phone with them or hop on a video call and just pick their brain. I'm sure you can think of some questions to ask them. And if you're not sure, people love talking about themselves. So just ask them how they got started and just kind of ask them to tell you their story. The more personal you can make this and the less forced type of quote unquote chore that you have to make it as far as networking goes, the better the conversation is going to be. So just let it flow naturally. And honestly, if this person has similar interests to you and maybe they follow you or they follow a similar band you like, then you already have something in common. So just use that to generate some conversation. Towards the end of the episode, I'm just going to cover some conversation starter questions and tips that you can use when you are networking, but we'll get to that. So that's Facebook and Instagram. Just direct message someone and try to get off the direct message platform and get on the phone, get on a video call or something. If you're close, heck, that is a perfect way to meet up. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a sandwich, whatever. Just, if you can, try to make it a little more personal. There's going to be a lot of people reaching out to you and to them via Instagram and Facebook. So again, just make yourself stand out a little bit more. This doesn't mean this person has to fork out money to buy your album or follow you on every single platform, or maybe you ask them to go to your show. It doesn't have to be like that. Just networking and building a relationship in general without asking for anything is going to be really useful in the future. And if you really don't know where to start on Instagram, for example, just put out a story on Instagram and ask people who would be interested in networking with you. If you get response to that question, there you go. Now you have a handful of people that have already welcomed you to reach out to them, and hopefully some good conversation will start to flow after that. Now, this next one I have not used personally, but I did a lot of research on it, and I just want to throw it out there for you to explore. It's called Drooble, Drooble. And what this is a network, basically a social media platform that is built specifically for musicians. So it's all about bringing musicians together from around the world to just help them gain more exposure, more knowledge, and get their music out there. Right now, the platform's free, and you can get points for interacting with people to help you use promotional tools on the platform. Basically, it's used for content, feedback, and discussions. So all of it's music. You're not going to get all of the other crap that, has no relation to what you're interested in. It's just music. So it's not like your typical general social media platform. But I really do think there is something to it. It's not crazy popular, but I'm actually hoping it will start to build, because it seems like a really great platform to just meet and connect with other musicians. So, maybe you'll learn some new things and learn some new music, and who knows. But again, if you're going to talk to people on here, try to get off of the platform and set up a video call or meet in person if you're close, or, just hop on the phone. There can be a lot said to pulling yourself off of the social media, and it'll go a long way for the other person too. Other social sites like Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Sonic Bids, those are all going to do kind of the same thing of just, helping you to immerse yourself within the music community, reach out to people, and get a conversation going. The next ideal way to network beyond social media, yes, it's going in person, is to attend conferences. So I'm going to list off a handful of really well-known ones, and I really, really encourage you to try to attend a conference per year. And I get it. Some of these can be really expensive to attend, especially on, a musician's salary, if you're just starting out. So if you can, try to pick one to go to, because it will be worth your time. So if you are a woman in music, there's actually a Woman in Music, WIM, conference. It's typically hosted in big cities, major cities around the United States. I think the last one was just in Nashville. This one is all about going to panels, networking. They have events and parties. And if you're not part of the Women in Music community right now, I really strongly recommend you sign up for it, because they have an entire network. I'm a part of it, and I hear about all of these networking events going on. Sadly for me, I live in Wisconsin, and there is usually never anything going on in Wisconsin. So I want to change that. With that said, all this organization is about is using women to come together for equality, diversity, supporting each other's opportunities, uniting culturally, all through arts and education and empowerment. And it's just a really, really awesome organization. So again, they have a big networking event. They have a big conference. Check that out if you're a woman in music. The Folk Alliance is the next one. This happens in Canada, and it is one of the largest gatherings for the music industry. The main purpose of this conference is to bring together music industry minds to collaborate, to innovate, and really to just spark conversation. So apparently it's an amazing conference. It is on my bucket list to go to, hopefully within the next year or two. It sounds amazing. And everyone I've talked to who has gone has nothing but incredible stories to share with me. If you are a songwriter, then the Durango Songwriters Expo is again in Canada, but it's a really great way for those to break out into the songwriting aspect of the music industry. You can pitch your songs to publishing companies and record labels and supervisors. They have classes, they have song listening sessions, panels, and a ton of other stuff, but again, more networking. The Muse Expo, MUSEXPO, is in California. This will be really in depth for sync music. So if you're interested in getting your music on film, TV, gaming, advertising, or having any like brand partnerships, then I really recommend you look into this one. It's in California. The Winter Music Conference, hello, it's in Florida in the winter. Say no more for this Wisconsin girl. That is somewhere I want to be. So that one is all about connecting with industry professionals, producers, artists, promoters, record labels, enthusiasts. I mean, there's a lot of people that go to this, and there's probably, a handful of sessions that won't apply to you, but they have two different segments, and that's what I like. There's one targeted towards the industry professional, and then there's another segment targeted to the music consumer who just wants to learn more about the industry and the technology. So this is a really cool event. The ASCAP I Create Music Expo in LA. It is pretty much the largest songwriter conference in North America. So there's a lot of noise. So keep in mind that there are opportunities to perform and maybe some areas where you can pitch your music to people, but there's a lot of people that go to this. So really what you're going to get is good informational panels. You're going to get really inspired, and you're going to network. That again is huge. Networking with other songwriters can open a lot of doors, and along with all of the industry professionals that are going to be there. It's through ASCAP. So if you're a member, you will get a discount. However, anyone can attend. The Music Biz Conference in Nashville. This is one that I will be going to. It brings together huge industry players. There's a ton of different panels, presentations, there's workshops, they have private meetings, cocktail parties, music performances. There's just a ton of stuff at this conference. And really, it's just meant to get you up to date on what's going on in the industry right now, and then teaching you how to apply it to your personal brand as an artist. So a really, really good opportunity for that one. CD Baby hosts one. It's called the Do-It-Yourself Musician Conference, DIY Musician Conference, and it is specifically for independent musicians. So my people who listen to this podcast, that's you. You're going to get a ton of opportunity to network with people just like you, which is huge. And then it's going to go into, how do it yourself doesn't have to be alone. Again, the saying that I always use, it's going to support that, and it's going to give you education. It's going to give you, a big community that welcomes a ton of different genres. And you're going to learn from people who are just killing it in this space. You may get some one-on-one mentoring, but either way, you're going to make some connections through networking, and you're going to be super motivated to just take it and run after the conference. So definitely consider that one. And the last one, I just wanted to mention the Americana Fest. There is a huge performance part of this conference, and then there's like the actual conference portion with seminars and panels and a ton of networking, really just bringing every aspect of the music industry together. So your artists, your managers, your labels, your radio stations, publishers, promoters, all of that stuff. You're going to get a chance to network and hopefully just leave feeling really inspired, educated, and up to date on what's going on. So that's the last one I wanted to highlight. If you know of any more, feel free to shoot me a DM. I can cover this topic again because these conferences there's new ones popping up all over the place, but I tried to give you ones that were consistent year after year with a really good reputation. So again, I know it costs money to fly there, get a hotel, even attend the conference sometimes can be a ridiculous fee. But if you can, try to get to one. It will change your life if you take advantage of all the opportunity that is there for you. Now, if you go attend a panel, maybe go to a few seminars and then go back to your hotel room or hit the town for some drinks, well, then you may not get as much out of it as you should. Even if networking makes you uncomfortable, you should still try to attend all of the networking events possible during this conference. Get your money's worth, get in front of people, talk to people. If they don't have a networking element, that's okay. You're still in a big, huge conference with like-minded people, so create your own networking space. Just do it. Get uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable, that's when you grow. Before I cover some quick tips on networking, I just want to throw out one more really awesome way to network with like-minded musicians, and that is through the company Meetup. Now, disclaimer, be safe about this. You're going to be meeting up with people that you do not know from online. So again, if it looks a little sketchy, take a buddy or don't do it. So just be really aware. However, Meetup is such a great way to find a group of people to create long-term connections with. This is such an easy way to network. Basically, what happens is you go on Meetup, you either create a group for people to join or you join a group that someone already has made. There are huge groups for Meetup that are already going on. You don't have to create one from scratch. So if you go to meetup.com/topics/music-industry. So again, that's meetup.com/topics/music-industry. It's going to give you some of the largest music industry groups in the world. So just for example, if you guys are in New York, there is a New York City Live music group. If you're in LA, there's a music and film TV meetup group. If you're in San Francisco, there's a creative industry networking group. In Seattle, there's a Songwriters in Seattle group. So there are millions of different groups out there. I'm sure you can find one in your area. If not, then create one. But basically what happens is if you click on a group that you're interested in, you can see the different events that they have. Events just meaning where they have met up before. You can see a list of members. Again, so maybe some people to think about finding on social media and reaching out to if, they have enough information on their profile. You can see photos, there's discussions on a lot of the groups. So again, you're going to find groups of all different sizes. Some of them are going to be tiny with maybe 2 to 4 people, and some are going to be massive, and you'll see there's 15,000 people in the group. Obviously, not everybody's going to come. It just kind of gives you an idea of what scale you're looking at and how likely you are to really get some good networking in. And don't be afraid to start one with your community. I mean, that's a huge window of opportunity if there's not currently one that you can find in your city. Again, Meetup, just be safe about it, but this could be a really, really useful tool to just get a group together of like-minded individuals, people who want to grow their music career and who are going through probably a lot of the same struggles you are. If you can't use them for networking as far as getting ahead in the industry, just use them as someone who is a friend on your side who just understands it, because we really need both aspects of our network. We need people to lean on and we need people to look up to. It's okay if you're not networking with the highest industry professionals. You guys are all going to be growing at different times, so make sure your network has as many levels in the industry as you can possibly get. If you are an introvert like me, the thought of networking makes you want to curl up into a ball and hide under a blanket. Yes, that's how I feel too. Then these tips may help you. If you are an introvert and you need some help figuring out how to network well, first is just bring a friend. If you have that friend who can talk to anybody, who's really good at making conversation, bring them with. They're going to help you feel a little bit more confident, and you can feel like you don't necessarily have to start the conversation, but you can jump in and add your points of view and thoughts as the conversation goes. Just let your experienced friend who is a little more comfortable with starting the initial conversation and is maybe a little better at keeping it rolling, take the hard start for you. Because I guarantee once you get talking about a topic you're passionate about or excited about or struggling with, you're going to be able to take over that conversation and lean less on that friend that you're bringing with. The next tip is aim for smaller groups. For your first experience networking, don't go to a massive networking conference if you have never networked before, okay? Try to network in small groups, maybe like a small meetup group that I talked about, or start with reaching out to people in your local area, seeing if you can grab coffee. Start small, and then you're going to feel a lot more comfortable once you go to these conferences and get to these massive networking parties, essentially. And try to establish a relationship first. So if you are just reaching out to this person who you've never talked to before in your life, you shouldn't expect them to give you a bunch of tips and help you out and spread your music. You need to build a relationship with them first. I work in the marketing industry as my full-time job, and selling is all based off of relationships. And when you're networking, you're selling yourself, right? So just like all of my marketing consultants that I manage, they are not selling a product, they're selling themselves with a solution to help the business owner, a marketing strategy. Do not just go right into asking them for help and asking them for resources and picking their brain with a bunch of questions. It's not just these random people who you've said hi to once in a while. A network is people who are like-minded, have similar or past experience in the industry that you're looking at, maybe people that are years ahead and where you want to be right now, or maybe it's people that are at the same stage as you. But either way, it shouldn't just be a random person off the street who you've said hi to once. You need to have a meaningful conversation, again, before you can expect anything in return. And keep in mind that this is not going to change your life after one networking session. The goal is to build up a network. So as you're going through your career and you're hitting these peaks and valleys with your success, you can lean on your network as needed. And the same goes for the people who you've connected with. They're going to lean on you as needed as well. It takes a little maintenance to keep your network, but again, it's not going to be life-changing from the start. You may meet someone really, really cool, and then maybe you won't talk to them for a year or two, and maybe then they'll reach out to you and ask for your opinion or your help on something, but you need to build one up. It's just not going to change your life in a matter of days. It's really meant for overtime connections that will ultimately help you grow your career. Now I'm going to switch to when you go to that networking meetup or you go to that conference, certain things that are going to help you do that. So I want you to be prepared with specific conversation starters. You should have a handful of questions that you want to ask people, maybe conversation sparking ideas that you can bring up during the conversation, but just have some ammo in your back pocket that you can use if the conversation starts to hit a lull or it's just not going as well as you thought it was going to go. These conversations don't have to be 3 hours long, especially if you're at a networking event. Chances are you're only going to get a few minutes with each person. So you want to make sure you're getting as much out of the conversation as possible. So pre-plan some of the questions. Don't read from a script, but just, have some ammo that you can use to help the conversation flow and be as productive as possible. Now, when you go to a networking event, if you, again, are an introvert like me, our first thought is, okay, I'm going to go find a corner of the room or, a table where no one's at. But I want to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and walk up to someone. That's what everyone is there for. Don't go sit in a corner and expect people to approach you. If you're talking up the room and you go from group to group, you actually may be that person that everyone else flocks to. Just keep in mind, you are not the only uncomfortable one at a networking event, or if it's just a one-on-one meeting that you've arranged to meet up with someone, you're not the only uncomfortable person. So just get past the uncomfortableness, let it happen, accept that you're uncomfortable, but just push through. And if you're prepared, it's going to go fine. And again, people love talking about themselves. So when all else fails, just ask them about their music or their career or how they got there, and that'll really help carry the conversation. The next tip is to have a business card. You need to leave something behind with them. Otherwise, how are you going to keep that connection? Give them a reason to put you into their contact list and put you into their phone or add you on social media. Make sure you have that business card. They're going to meet so many people at the events that you go to. So just make sure you have something physical to hand out at the end. And most importantly, just be yourself, right? If you're talking to people and maybe you found yourself networking with these top industry professionals and they throw out a term that you have no idea what it means, don't be afraid to ask them to expand on it. Again, it helps the conversation gain a little bit more momentum, and you won't look like an idiot after you've been nodding your head for the last 10 minutes when they ask you what you think about that, which has happened to me. So don't act like you have to fake that you know something. I am a huge believer in the term fake it till you make it, in terms of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and stepping out of your comfort zone. But if you really fake too much, like you understand the terms that they're throwing out there, it may end up biting you in the butt. So overall, just be yourself, right? If you're prepared, you're authentic, you're passionate, and you really genuinely want to have a conversation with these people, then you're going to do just fine. I don't think anyone's comfortable networking when they just start out, but you are going to get there. It does take practice, just like your music, just like performing on stage. You just got to do it a little bit more. And let me tell you, it is so worth it. So just keep pushing through, search out some events, go attend a meetup session, reach out to people on social media to see if you can meet up with them. Just above all, make sure you're being safe with it. If anything looks remotely concerning, don't go. Your safety is not worth you networking like a crazy person. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is the 12th episode of Intentional Harmony, and I am so glad you stuck with me this long. Please subscribe and leave a review, leave a comment if you liked what you heard today. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I hope you stick with us for more episodes to come. If you are a repeat listener, thank you so much for coming back, and I really appreciate the support that you give me. As always, if you have any questions or any comments, or you just want to open it up for discussion after the podcast, just send me a direct message on Instagram and Facebook. I'm very responsive with my listeners, and I'm more than happy to just have a conversation with you about it. You can find me at Intent Artist Management on Instagram and Facebook, intentartistmanagement.com for my website, where you can also connect with my blog and see the latest podcasts on my website as well. Again, thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time on Intentional Harmony.